What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Drawing with Jack. We're here with Jack Haynes, of course, myself, Skip Rossi, writer and producer for Cox in Space, and John, who is our guest tonight. I've been kind of chatting with John through this week because I like to get to know people before they come on so that we can have a good time together. And he's shared some very interesting things with me that I'm hoping that he will share with you. Some of it may not be classified top secret, but it might just be classified like regular secrecy. So, John, welcome to the show.
Holy shit, John, are you with the CIA?
Well, I'm just saying that, like there's for privacy reasons, there's some things that we can't talk about John with, and so I'll try to make sure that that doesn't happen to you tonight.
Got the NSA on the podcast. I didn't know.
Everything you say can be edited afterwards. Only people hearing this in the room. If something gets blanked out in the podcast on YouTube, I'm sorry you missed out. Whatever that content was just too spicy for YouTube. With that intro, John, how you doing? How you like ginger? I think you said sometimes it's good on a dish.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I like a fair amount of ginger. I like a strong flavor. When me and my girlfriend have sushi, I guess I'm kind of I'm like, hey, are you gonna finish those pieces on the side?
Right. Yeah. You can't leave wasted ginger. I will leave sushi restaurants and be like, guys, why are you're missing the best part? Because it's like if you like refresh with ginger between your rolls, then you can taste the flavor of the new roll, even if it's the same one you just tasted. It just it kind of like washes all the taste out. And then you get you're like, oh, the sushi is so good.
This will only make sense to people if they have the cold open that will explain why you came so directly with it. Like, hey, John, how's it going? Do you like ginger?
Do you like ginger? Because listen, I'm just trying to cover the things that are not top secret right off the top, because this is the list of things that we can talk about. But John, I know that one of the things that you and Jack are totally going to vibe on is you said you like your video games. What are you playing right now?
Oh, I'm actually replaying Wolfenstein: The New Colossus.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
And
which system? Is that a dumb question?
I'm playing it on the PS4.
Nice.
Nice. At the moment. Just a nice solid shooter. Very ridiculous story that somehow still has emotional beats that land. And, killing Nazis.
Right.
It's a good time.
It doesn't get better than that. It's a thing, I think, in our culture that we have to be reminded of. It's not just for video games, kids. Sometimes, I'm just saying, if Nazis start doing Nazi shit, it's very appropriate to kill a Nazi. Right? I mean, we're all on that as a concept on this podcast. Listen, true or not true?
Killing, my opinion, since my face is the face of
your face. We might need to clarify that.
Killing should never be an option. Killing is the very last option if your life is in absolute danger.
Well, this is what I'm saying. If Nazis are doing Nazi shit,
will put your life in absolute danger.
Yeah, putting your life in danger and not caring for who you are, it's definitely time to kill a couple. Now, if they cross the line, also, it's very appropriate to punch them in the face. It's just you need to match a Nazi where it's at.
Listen, killing a Nazi, between punching a Nazi and killing a Nazi, I'm definitely saying punch the fuck out of a Nazi.
Punch the Nazis first, worry about the murder charges afterwards, and if it does stick, right? If the punching, gets to the point where it sticks,
Yeah. We're here on Drawing with Jack, and you heard it first. We're just, politically out here to... throttle Nazis.
Yeah, just leaning on the throttle Nazi stance. John, I know you're new to the podcast. What is your stance on that? I know you might be, you feel like you're in the minority, but it's definitely okay to voice your opinion. If you're like, actually, Nazis are...
John, it is okay to be against killing. Yeah. I'm against all state-sanctioned killing.
As an individual whose last name was mentioned, I too am against homicide.
Also, I'm sorry, I do that for everyone because most of our guests who come on are actually trying to make a name for themselves, which I realized is very interesting. It's different for you because I know that you've done some improv, but you're not actively pursuing any sort of comedy career. Is that right?
Not at the moment. I mean, I'm kind of I'm kind of reevaluating a lot of things about my life at the moment. I'm kind of just in an odd place at the moment. So, I mean, I'm considering getting back out there.
Nothing
So,
wrong with being in an odd place.
Yeah, I took a 12-year or 14-year hiatus from comedy, the comedy scene, because I fell in love with improv, and then like what I was seeing didn't match up to my standards necessarily of what I wanted to do, and so I took a step back to evaluate what I wanted to do, and then now I'm coming back to it also. So I understand that.
yeah, I can very much relate to that. I've kind of I guess I've I've kind of been taking a hiatus from two different career paths
Okay.
at the same time,
Okay.
which I could elaborate on if you want.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I guess I had some emotional difficulties when I was younger.
Okay.
Might be a little bit out there for comedians, but I was diagnosed with depression.
He said ironically to all the comedians in the crowd are like, dude, I relate to this guy.
I had depression, had got generalized anxiety disorder, and I have since been diagnosed with ADHD and sleep apnea.
I like them apples, right? It turns out a lot of
I,
people that we have on and like hang out with, they're like in that group of people. And I noticed it and I was like, oh, that wasn't intentional, but here we are.
well, I mean, I think part of it's a business thing. I mean, I think a lot of comedians, by being a comedian, you're going to be in your head a lot. So I could see how that can kind of develop. I those things I bring up just because I was really getting into both comedy and I was also going to grad school for physics for a little while.
Okay.
And those particular issues,
Wait, hang on. Let me just, do you mind if I just stop and unpack that real quick? So what you're saying is that you had already gotten your master's in physics. I'm sorry, you'd already gotten the pre to start your master's in physics.
yeah, I'd started my master's in physics.
So you're talking about like 6 years of school at that point?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying
I
to call out.
completed my 4-year degree, and
Okay.
then I was on my 6th year. Um, and then I just kind of had I had a bit of a breakdown.
I
On that
understand that
last.
studying physics will do that to you.
Well,
Yeah.
see, the odd thing is though, like all right, I've heard lots of horror stories about dudes going to grad school, lots of demanding professors and things and all that stuff. I actually didn't have any of that.
Okay. Cool.
I shout out to the physics department at BGSU. All of those guys were very supportive, very kind, very knowledgeable and good people. I had those issues I mentioned, and wasn't I wasn't seeing any professionals until later. And then when I did start seeing them, I wasn't entirely honest with them about the scope of my issues, so I kind of just let that build up.
Also, you just
So
met them, so how could you be, right? That's been my big problem with like meeting with therapists as well. Is like, look, dude, I don't know you. You might be an asshole and have no good advice whatsoever. Like, how
yeah,
can I trust your opinion based off the paper you have on the wall? Like I've met a bunch of slackers who go to school. So,
well, I mean, it didn't help that like. I mean, one of the psychologists I saw at the time, when I was sort of asking him a serious question, was like, well, you don't seem autistic. And that was the level of rigor he was bringing to to our discussion.
and you're like, well, I'm overstimulated all the time by everything.
Yeah, it's and honest like and especially honestly the sleep apnea might have been most consequential because it's very hard to regulate yourself when you get 0 REM sleep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I didn't start treatment for that till my early 30s, which things have improved markedly by then. But also at the same time that happened, I also was starting to crash out trying to do stand up a little bit. Um, just finding it, hard to keep getting out there, finding the energy and stuff. And then for the past number of years, it's kind of just been Trying to find a unique voice, I guess. I think I always I prided myself on trying to find interesting things to get mad about, trying to find fun things to make people think about that they wouldn't normally think about.
Okay.
And now I mean, given the political climate and everything that goes on, I'm kind of just, I'm mad about what everybody else is mad about.
It's hard not to be if you're a thinking person. And I think a lot of people who weren't thinking are starting to actually wake up too, and are like, "Oh crap, what do we do?"
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I guess like, well, it's tough of trying to make those arguments with folks, trying to hopefully change some minds, while also, I guess, if I'm trying to be funny about it, it's tough to shoehorn in something interesting, I guess.
Yeah,
it's hard to be funny when you're just mad, right?
Yeah.
Or like,
well, and also just like this is like the most, like it's so hard to make fun of an administration that's like fascists that are making this hard fun of themselves. It's like
right.
we're dealing with like the dumbest fascists to ever do it. So it's
you can't make comedy of this future. Like seriously, if someone
it's so hard.
Like done a Coen Brothers film, 20 years ago that pictured this life in America, people would be like, guys, this is just too silly. Like you just.
I mean, the reason I feel like South Park is really hitting it right now with their humor on it is because they're hitting with such disdain and just like absolute, just like not just cutting them down, but just like, I mean, just disrespect, like the absolute disrespect to people that are like just acting like they deserve it so badly, and like even more badly than like normal presidents, like covering shit in gold, and I don't know, it's just like just like pretending that they like deserve it so much, and like and just like having that juxtaposition right there is, I really feel like, one of the reasons that South Park is succeeding so much, because the rest of us are just like standing and watching shit get dismantled, which is also wild, but
right.
Yeah.
It is hard to make fun of, but I mean, I totally hear you, because it's like not. It is like it's one of the insidious things about what's happening right now. It's like it's turning everything that is criticism about it into noise that we don't want to hear for one reason or another. And so that's why I feel like we really need to like look at that and wonder if, like, I don't know, like maybe we should just like make the noise. I don't know.
No, I
mean that's right. Fair, right? So you're saying in the case of where John is getting back on stage, he should be saying the same things that are making people mad, but making it interesting. I guess that's a fair.
Or at least not be afraid to make the argument. I mean, whether it's funny or not, people will decide, and that'll just be up to people. But don't be afraid to make the argument. I mean, even if it is the same or pastiche or what, it's like. I really feel like right now people need to be reminded that, like, we all sort of like because I think that people are reflexively being like, isn't this like fucked up what we're doing to women, to immigrants, to trans people, but they don't want to say anything because they're afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't think they're going to get any backup, and they don't think anyone else thinks that because no one else is willing to say it.
Right.
So, I think it's like worth it just to say it, just so that people are reminded. They're like, oh yeah, like other people do feel this way. I'm not like by myself feeling this way. I will have backup, at least if I speak up and agree with this.
Gotcha. So you're saying it's important to be vocal on the issues, so that other people also know that who are around that they can be.
And about the issues that matter to you.
What is up, Aaron Cosby? Welcome to Drawing with Jack. Aaron Cosby, we're here with John, a friend of yours, Ed.
Indeed. John, how's it going?
Howdy. Oh, it's going okay. We're just discussing the use of comedy in this particular era of nihilism and hopelessness in which we live.
Aaron, I'm sure you have a few
Yes.
thoughts on that. John, thank you for summing that up. That was a fantastic.
And it really does touch on what we were just talking
That's
about.
exactly what we were talking about. Generally, when I sum up a topic, it's like the off to a rant, and it kind of sums it up, but not succinct. Sorry.
Yeah, I do think that people right now, they want to believe in nothing. Like they want to believe that nothing matters, that like nothing is in common, everything is polarizing, and like they don't want there to be like anything unifying. And I think that's another reason why it's important to speak up, because it's
unify. You don't speak up. The other person next to you doesn't speak up.
Yeah, other
like
people do believe in the things you believe
they also
in,
do. Like, I mean, the world is made up of good people. They just need good people around them to also speak up. Isn't that like a term of the phrase? Aaron, how do you use comedy as a social influence?
I am a generally happy person, and I want other people to also be happy. So I figured that comedy would be the best way to do it on a larger scale. Because there's also studying like psychology, and that's just, working on one person.
That's true. You could fix
comedy.
Yourself, or you could fix everybody else.
Yeah. But like I also think that people have gotten into like a dark place, and that they need somebody to be jovial and lighten the mood.
Serving as a social function. That's really interesting. I didn't realize you took it to that level. John, how does that, how do you feel about all that? I mean, you presented an idea, and everyone, of course, being men, offered you advice. What are your thoughts?
Right.
Well, I mean,
it's just how we relate to each other. It's not intentional.
Well, it's actually, interesting. Aaron, we actually were talking about South Park earlier, and I mean, honestly, the interesting thing is that I feel like South Park is kind of serving a different function than maybe it used to, because I think it's that thing you guys are talking about dealing with all of this and having other people sort of say these things, and you can hear the other people say them, and we can all kind of rely on each other. And that's kind of the feeling I get from South Park at the moment. In terms of actually attacking the people themselves, I don't think it really works, just because the people in power don't actually have any shame. They're not capable of feeling it.
That's interesting.
I mean, they literally took an image from the show of the ICE agents raiding heaven and posted it on Twitter and used it as an advertisement for ICE.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They don't realize they're being mocked because they can't feel it. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I think they realize it. They just don't care. They're like, no, that is the point. We would raid heaven if there were immigrants there.
Yeah, I think it's more like you think that you're attacking them and they'll feel the pain, but it doesn't. They don't feel any pain from it. It's just like, oh, look at how we're triggering these liberals. And they're attacking us with everything they got. Such weakness. Ha ha.
But John, I think you're saying something different though. You're saying that it's South Park is not serving, like in other situations, it's shamed people into taking action to help correct the action or draw attention to something. But you're saying in this case, you think they're being a voice for the people?
I agree with Aaron's point about how the people it's attacking are taking it. And basically,
I mean, I agree with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that this function that it is serving instead is what y'all were talking about essentially having, those voices out there that you're hearing, that you're not crazy, that other people are seeing this for what it is, that this isn't normal, that this is nuts, that these people are, Well, okay, I would call many people in the administration evil, but I don't know if I would call Donald Trump evil. I don't think I don't think the concept of morality enters into anything in his mind.
I would agree with that. That's what makes him so scary, is because he's not like a villain. You know what I mean? Villains have goals.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He does not care. Like, I mean, it seems like one of the things he's doing that's actually turning out to be incredibly destructive is like he really wants a Nobel Peace Prize. Just seems to really want it for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's because Obama got one.
Why? Because Obama did shit.
I mean, no. Obama got one for like not being George Bush.
Okay, I mean, anybody.
I mean, that's not.
I don't know that he
really
specifically did anything.
Really. Okay, fair. I have nothing to put on the table to say what he did. I'm just like, he won it. He actually won it.
I mean, let's just be honest. No U.S. president yet deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. They all.
That's actually true. There's a lot of work going on throughout Obama's administration as well.
Yeah, so no president deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. No Obama, is just included in that. Yeah.
Jimmy Carter?
So. No.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't. Yeah.
What about
just
the nicest version of Jimmy Carter? I'm sorry, that was a total different.
Eisenhower would have deserved a Peace Prize, for World War II.
No.
For bringing about a lot of peace very quickly. No, that doesn't.
Eisenhower did try to warn about the military-industrial complex, but I mean, he, directed lives to be lost inside of that complex and helped build it up. So, no. I mean, he tried. I mean, every president deserves, a little participation trophy, pat on the head, you tried, little dude. But no, you're still a war criminal, and you probably, you helped this, government that has, helped quash Democratic leaders in South America.
They're more like the getaway drivers to a bank robbery. You know what I mean? Like, there's other people who are robbing the bank and doing the action, but they're in the car making sure it continues to happen.
As commander-in-chief,
culpable.
Directed.
Yes, I'm giving you culpable. Also, I'm like, damn, dude. I'm sure once they sit in the driver's seat, they're like, oh, fuck. Because the dudes come out of the shadows and they look at you and be like, hey, you going to play ball or not? Because you remember JFK? So, things. Anyway, John, there's a cornucopia of topics you could pick from if you want any.
I'm trying to remember where we started.
We started way far away on sushi and ginger.
That's right. Yeah, that was the first topic. So I figured that we should do it. But you're talking about
we jumped right into
public policy and how South Park is being the voice of the people was kind of where that beginning point was. At least that's the last tangent of memory that I have for this conversation.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it's about, I guess, giving us, having a cultural touchstone as, especially as all these other media companies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess their media company, including Paramount, they're all kind of folding to Donald Trump. He's getting them to make all these concessions and to report on things more nicely, excluding certain people from the press pool.
So wild. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's democracy. That's how democracy works. You're like, that's not what?
Yeah, or him firing people in charge of putting out, data, so we can't actually even know what's going on.
Yeah,
it's nice to have something that we can, everybody can watch and look at together.
None of the messages, the intercommunications are being reported. Or haven't been since April.
Oh yeah.
I
almost forgot about that.
I was like, what are they fucking doing? Why would you want to keep your text and records off the record? That's yeah.
Yeah.
But in the idea that we initially started in, which was coming from that, was the idea of using comedy as a tool to spread hope. I think was what Aaron's point was. There was a deep dive that I dropped in the chat, I think last week, that if you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to check it out because it's really cool. It's about how Joe Rogan became a comedy czar and started to use his power to like gain a voice and a lot of people followers. And playing the political arena has allowed the presidency to happen the way that it is. And so it was the idea. This is where it hit me, where I shared it in this one. I was like, oh dang, like they used it for their own end, but we can use comedy for our own end, which is hope maxing. Because one of the comments on that video, someone says that they're like, it's good to recognize that there's so much hate, and the only solution is hope. And it has like 11,000 comments on it now. Because people, and I was like, I've scrolled through it a couple of times, just being like, people are like hungry for hope, like they're tired of all this like comedy being just like hate, because it used to be, philosophers who did comedy, if you remember.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
great.
well, even some of those same philosophers. I mean, you watch early George Carlin versus late George Carlin.
Oh yeah,
He gets
he got so
progressively
mad.
angrier.
Yeah, I can't watch George Carlin. I really love, earlier when he has like, brown hair and like more hair. Because he was musing and being like observing the wonder of life itself. Um, we had a guest on who said that he was at a George Carlin show where all he did was yell at the audience to be like, "You guys fucked this up, and it is your fault." As he's progressively getting more and more drunk. It was like, he was like, "That was the worst show I've ever been to. We sat there to see if it was going to get funny, and it didn't." Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I think that people are hungry for that again, is what I'm saying. Like, I think that there's a lot of like desire for hope. The new Superman kind of like touched on that, or was like, I'm not hoping I'm not spoiling anything for you. With the Superman movie.
I haven't seen it yet, but I am very cool with spoilers.
It's and I think that's been all over the place. That's kind of like James Gunn's big thing. That's what people are upset about him for in the movie, is that it's a message of like, we should have hope. It's also in that comment section. I was remembering that they're like quoting that basically one of James Gunn's quotes that Aaron Cosbale loves a lot, which is that being kind is punk rock. In a world that is mean, being kind is punk rock.
Yeah.
Which I don't know anything about actual punk rock, so I mean, I think it's cool that I think other people think punk rock is cool, so it's cool that people think that kindness is that level of cool.
Yeah.
Punk rock is like
But I
the
don't know anything
mentality
about
of
punk rock.
rebellion, is kind of what I think James Gunn was getting at. It's about like rebelling against the status quo, and so like at one point it was like to be like rebellious, but like now it really is like, to like recognize we need each other as a community and to take care of one another. That really is, I mean, our human concern.
Yeah. It's so tough not to get mad, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's a lot of maddening things that go on, but the person who wins the fight generally is the one who doesn't lose their head. And so like that's why I think that like we have to like remember to prevail, because people will bluster and do their bullshit, but eventually it has to crumble because hate can't last. It's so destructive that it eventually like will either explode or implode.
Yeah, I guess I mean, I do agree with that sentiment, but like I also feel like a lot of devastation can happen between
Well, right.
between the
No one
start
likes
and
an
the
implosion or explosion. There's a lot of, we have to go through some bullshit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like that. The fact that we're almost certainly going to have to. I mean, that's that's the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks living in interesting times, you know.
Exactly. But yeah, that's true. I don't know that one of my things, and I'm not sure where exactly I fall because I haven't been officially diagnosed with anything. But one thing that I love is one thing I almost need in my life is for it to be interesting, to the point that like when I get bored with things, I will just do stuff to make it interesting. Which it can be really self-destructive in a lot of ways. I will just be like, I'm done. This is not interesting anymore. I'm gonna go do something else. Um, do you feel me on that one or no?
Um, I can. I can understand that feeling, although I kind of just have I'm not that interesting. I think that's mostly due to my own, I guess, just I have this inertia with everything that I'm doing.
Huh.
Whether it's getting up from the couch to go to bed, or whether it's making any life decisions. Like I always want to make things more interesting. I struggle when I'm doing something that's not engaging me, but at the same time, it always just feels like I've got a lot of mass moving in some direction, and I don't really know how to change it too
Oh,
easily.
that's interesting. Gotcha. Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, and you get older, generally, that I've been finding is the case, is that there is more weight holding you in places and you can't just do things, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, I guess both practically in terms of the way I built my life up, but also just mentally, like, I mean, might be specific to my ADHD, but just like task switching in general, both in terms of small tasks and big tasks, like the idea of forming whole new routines and stuff, feels
Yeah,
like an incredible weight.
no, that's fair. I think Aaron said something similar to that as well. Was like just knowing what task you have to do, that you can just keep doing it is like satisfying in itself. Like having to learn something's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind being bored at work as long as like I can do something interesting after work.
fair.
So like I get to do this and this is interesting, or I get to do comedy and that comedy's interesting. Uh, Anything that affects others, I think, is interesting.
And that's
So the thing I was getting at is you said that we were living in interesting times, and then I'm not sure if this is true. As to some extent, it sometimes feels like it. That people are born at the right time. People maybe don't always claim that, but like for me, I feel like I probably, if I had the choice of history, I'd be like, put me somewhere interesting. I don't want to be bored while I'm on Earth. You know what I mean? So that might be where the excitement for me is coming from, even though I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, no, we're gonna see a bit of a mess.
yeah.
We're going to see a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, God, I guess well, it's weird to see the change happen in real time. I think just growing up, not having to think about things, not having to have it be interesting, where the idea that the president was having an affair back in the 90s was
That was big
dominating
news.
news.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
funny. That was the highest
what?
drama of those years, I think.
Yeah, that'll last like what, 3 days now?
Which, like, let's just call it what it is. It wasn't a affair. It was statutory rape because he had the influence over her in the position. Like, she was an intern or an assistant or something like that. He's a fucking president. I don't think that they're on equal footing. But like Monica Lewinsky, like I like it sucks that her name got dragged through the mud. Realizing now,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, and then all the jokes and stuff she had to put up with. And
Yeah.
Right, but
I mean,
that
I
was the
guess-
highest drama that we had to deal with at the time. It wasn't that, the Nazis were were taking off their masks in America, and revealing that they had been the government the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, no,
And they're friends with the president,
Yeah.
confirmed,
Confirmed.
who had an affair with a porn star, confirmed, while his wife was pregnant with their child, confirmed.
Confirmed.
Like,
those facts. So,
uh,
see, the thing is, I have to say allegedly in these ones because I have no citations that I can put down in the notes below. But if you want to message
Yeah.
them to me, I will definitely cite the stories.
I mean, all of that, everything that I just said is confirmed. And
Confirmed.
there was a lawsuit, there was a deposition. He was deposed on it. Michael Cohen was deposed. Michael Cohen confirmed that there was a cover up. He had an affair with her. There was a payment. I'm pretty sure he admitted to it, but I don't know if that's alleged. He may never have admitted to it.
Yeah.
Again.
The thing is that the headcanon of Trump having sex with anyone which is just the horror show that people have to deal with. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. I think that's why he can do it, and it's in plain sight because no one's like, oh yeah, like I don't want to think about that anymore.
Gross
Yeah, exactly. I am flushing it from my memory hole, and then they're like, did you see what happened on the TikTok? TikToks are fun, but goddamn, you can get distracted, and not have to think about Donald Trump having sex with a porn star.
Yeah, I mean, it was great when we didn't have to think about the president having some kind of
You know, and we weren't involved with multiple wars in multiple places, and the government wasn't spying on us. It was a great time to grow up. I agree with you, John. I think the 80s were the last great decade. And I might be biased, but I wasn't doing cocaine, but I hear, it was fun because I was.
There were still Quaaludes.
Yeah.
I think.
There's still Quaaludes. There's still a stack of Quaaludes.
I mean, I guess it's tough because I feel like it's kind of what's the word? It feels like I'm becoming more cognizant of a particular privilege I have of being able to say, oh, now we're in interesting times, because I guess times are always interesting. It just we're not used to it being interesting here. It's always about like, oh, I could go read about it being interesting somewhere else. That's that sounds terrible, And we talk about like the 90s and 80s and
that's true. We're doing a lot of bombing.
Interestingness.
Yeah, and taking places over and putting people in power. Yeah, what's the expression? The chickens have come to roost, or how it's supposed to go together.
Malcolm X.
Is that what he said?
The chicken's coming home to roost. I believe that was in reference to JFK getting shot, if I'm remembering right.
Oh, I did not even mean to make that reference. I just meant the expression in general. Like when you stir up shit, it doesn't take too long for it to rise up to the top.
I mean, yeah. Although, like, it is funny that all that stuff feels like such nothing, but it's all still used as, bringing it back to nihilism. I feel like that's kind of the it's used to distract and just say, oh, hey, both sides are bad, all that sort of thing. There's no point in really considering between one or the other, and not just in politics, kind of in everything. I think taking things, saying that, oh, two things are bad and therefore there's no point in choosing between them. I used to have the opinion of, oh, hey, picking the lesser of two evils isn't, good enough, or I'll vote for the third party candidate because at least I'm, I'm taking a stand. And what happens ultimately as a result of me placing that vote instead of another vote, it's like, oh, well, that's not my fault. That's not my problem. The consequence isn't the point. And I learned, the consequence, well, it's a point. It's a very important point. But I think it's very easy for a lot of people, and especially young people, to look at two bad things, treat them the same, and say, well, there's no point in picking one or the other. Like, as opposed to politics, sports gambling we have going on now, cryptocurrency investing. I mean, like, just financial nihilism where it's like, oh, hey, the job market is garbage, so I might as well bet everything and see if I get lucky.
That's really enlightening. I didn't realize that was but you're absolutely right. I mean, I agree with you that would be, if you can't get a job, you may as well gamble if you can and see what you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this, it is being fed everywhere. And I think, like, it's not the main problem with, like, what's going on right now. The main problem's still the fascism. But I think what really sets this apart from times before is the nihilism, where people can hear all the stuff that Donald Trump does and just not care. And just be like, oh, well, everybody does that stuff. And so, no,
that's just what he does. That's just Donald Trump.
He's trumping it up. Yep.
Yeah, and just not caring about any of it. It's and I mean, it's even in the Supreme Court now. I mean, you can see them write decisions that, they tangle each other in knots. I mean, there was recently the thing going on with Trump trying to fire uh, one of the people on the board of the Fed. But like that had reminded me of an earlier decision they had made where they were like, hey, Trump's trying to fire these people on this different regulatory board, and Congress said they can't, except we're going to say, no, he actually can. Congress can't stop him from firing these people because he's the executive and has all the power, except for the Federal Reserve, because that one's special. It's got special historical relevance and stuff, and they just carve out this nonsense that doesn't make any sense. But they don't care about any of the precedent they're writing about. They don't care about any of the reasons. It's just the end result that matters, and they'll tie whatever knots they have to in order to get it there. And they're supposed to be, the legal elite.
Just playing games.
Yeah.
Is it? So then, is it nihilism, or just like the ends just them believing the ends justify the means?
I think the nihilism is what allows it to be accepted.
We keep hearing about it, but we just like, yep, that's Trump being Trump. That's the government being out of control, like it is.
Yeah, and we hear one more thing, and I mean, I guess I can't blame people for necessarily feeling nihilistic because
Sure you can.
I will say I'm mad about it. I am mad about it, but I think for some people it's because they don't care about anything except their immediate environment. They care if their friends get affected or whatever. But I think part of that is a defense mechanism, just because it is so it's so exhausting to care about everything happening in
That's
the world.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think that the people aren't trying to be nihilistic to be edgy. I think people are burned out from living, which is kind of what the point of all the ridiculousness is just to like shake them until they stop moving. But I think also why more the reason that we have to be like, but don't give up. Even when you're down, we get back up. Because we're humans and we do that. It's not even an American trait or gendered trait. Like it's because of us as a species. It's like we're not gonna settle. You cannot put it down.
Well, and I think that, right now it's kind of becoming apparent that something like democracy is not a like foregone conclusion for us. And, for some people, that's like a new concept that democracy is not something that everybody is like down with. But I think, we're also seeing too, for the first time in a lot of lifetimes, that freedom is not something that people are necessarily down with either, in a lot of forms. This nihilism form being one of them. But, like one thing that I was taught is that, democracy is a responsibility. Freedom is also a responsibility. A lot of people internalize that in a lot of different ways, but, it does mean that you have to keep track of like what's going on around you and be informed because, you have to vote for who's going to lead you, not just nationally, but also locally. And
it goes
I was
beyond
feeling
the voting booth though. You have to be involved in your community taking.
exactly, and I had the same feeling about like my vote not mattering and there being no difference between the two parties because of like the national races when I was a teenager and in my 20s. But then I realized that there was a lot more choice at the local level, and that mattered more. It became a little bit more like impactful to me to just like be conscious of what was going on in my local elections and trying to vote smartly there to make better things happen nationally. And then Barack Obama was elected, so then it didn't really matter because there was like a Democratic swing, and the Tea Party came around, and Donald Trump came around, and people just started to slowly, lose their fucking minds over like very like silly shit.
Yeah.
And people continue to have this attitude of just like, well, it'll sort itself out. The pendulum will swing. Things will happen. Blah blah blah. And there was this like two-party like trust, because I think it's always led America in like a certain like good-ish direction, at least as far as the public was concerned. But now it's really starting to show its wrinkles, I guess, its warts in this Donald Trump era, and the Democrats really not having too much of a way to do anything, and people feeling like there's no difference, even though there are huge differences. But Democrats being this era is so concerned about winning instead of being concerned about the future, in my opinion. That it's like, I mean, if the pendulum really exists and it's swinging, then there's really nothing we can do, right? So it's like, if we're going to be the losers, why can't we be the losers that stood up for fucking democracy? Like, why are we so afraid to like, do shit that is, like for democracy? Like, I think a lot of Democratic leaders, and I think a lot of people in general, are like missing the moment because they're just like worried about, I don't know, winning or being on the right team, or like having ultimately history like on their side completely, to say like whether they were or were not involved in some kind of fucking moment in history where fascism took over. I don't know what, but it's just like they don't really like care about the American experiment, for people who I think do care about whether or not like democracy continues to have like any kind of chance the way that we were raised to believe that it did, at least the way that I was raised to believe that it did. I think participation is key, and I think that people have to, have kind of like a, I don't know, like, it's like the moment comes to you and you either rise to it or you don't, I mean, like, yeah, like it is probably going to take some kind of radical action now to save from things like the National Guard being deployed against the people. But, I mean, that's not like something that we asked for. And it's like, are you going to like stand up for democracy or not? Like, I mean, again, when it came for the German people, like a lot of people didn't. And, we're supposed to learn from that moment in history about like how when people come, are you going to, it's like, are we going to be hiding immigrants now? Are we going to be like trying to like save people in our communities? Or, are we going to like try to defy the government when we know that it's wrong? Like, I'm not going to ask anybody to do that.
If you're a person with a voice, are you going to speak up for those who have no voice?
Well, I mean, we have to consider these things, and we can't consider them like, well, I mean, like, it's like a pendulum's going to swing, or like, I don't want to be a part of like the world party.
True. You do have to make the decision. Are you going to protect people?
Yeah,
I mean, the government, and you need to decide where you are before that happens, because it will happen.
I mean, because it's like, whether or not we believe in like the individual, it's like you have to believe in ideas, principles.
So, and Jack, to be specific, I think I've mentioned that I believe the pendulum is swinging back, but I also believe that it doesn't happen by coincidence or chance. You have to push back against the thing that's swinging and get more people to push back against the thing that's swinging to like make it move back. And I think a lot of people are there ready to do that, and they just want to believe that other people are with them too. And so that's why I think, you're absolutely right. Like, you just need to continue to take action and then mention the fact that you're taking action so other people know.
Yeah, I guess I wonder, I mean, I guess the hard part is convincing people to do
You'll never convince anybody. You can't. No one ever changed their mind.
That's always been the hardest part. Yeah. It's always been the hardest part.
It's only action. That's the only thing that changes people.
I guess it's where I think about it is, I mean, I think getting people to take that action is incredibly important, and that's the question of how do we save the country. When I think of all the people who don't engage with the democratic process, I mean, I think part of that is essentially this is kind of the end game of a design that's kind of been in the works for a while, where we have all these democratic processes, and we're told in school, sure, it's a responsibility, and like, I want to be clear. I agree 100% with what you guys are saying, but like we're formed by the stuff that happens around us, and one of those things that happens around us is there's zero support for actually engaging in the democratic process on any level. You don't. Right.
Well, they don't actually want support from the people. That's not. It'd be better if they just didn't turn out and they could make the decision without us, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Even the stuff that you need people for, they don't provide any support for, like jury duty. Incredibly important. It's one of the foundations of our justice system. Now, I mean, you could talk about how effective that is, given how easily people can be swayed to certain opinions and things,
right. or bring their own opinions in with them.
Yeah, but like nobody wants to do jury duty, and it's not just because we don't want to make time. It's like, oh, well, you can't go to work, and you're not going to get paid if you're an hourly employee, and that means you might be relying on that paycheck for bills, and you're going to do whatever you can to get out of it or to make sure it lasts as little time as possible. And that's, not just that makes your life worse as a juror. It also means that the disservice is being done for any defendant on there. Same with elections. Takes place on a usual work day for that you don't you don't really get any special considerations for things to vote. It's like technically you have to be given time to vote, but that just means that you can't be working specifically the entire time the polls are open. So
right.
Oh, hey, you get an hour before work.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, there's got to be some people who would want to be on a jury. There's people who love judging others.
I'm not saying nobody does.
But you're saying the financial burden of doing that.
That it's very easy to essentially feel like the democratic process has no investment in you and no interest in helping you engage with it.
And that's true. So, in most of the government, right?
I mean, like that nihilism, that part of what it's a defense mechanism against is part of that helplessness, I think, that we all feel, because it's like, oh, I'm not able to engage with this thing. I was sold this thing and I'm not able to engage with it. And so if I just think of this whole thing as corrupt and doesn't have a point, then I'm able to kind of just push it out of my mind and focus on the day-to-day, because that's
fair.
I mean, it's guys, hard enough.
I'm going to propose a radical change to the government.
Oh shit! Here comes the socialism.
We should get rid of all the Senate, House of Republicans, presidency. What we should actually be doing is just any law that we think needs to happen is pitched to a general forum board, and everyone in the local area votes on it. And what happens is that the highest voted thing happens. You have to be of a certain age. You have to have the app. You have to prove that you are the person who's making the vote. But it's just all localized voting all the time. And then, the office is actually, like the mayoral office. It's just an assigned candidate that's selected as for jury duty, but is paid to be in the office. And then they're just told what things they need to get executed from the general people's vote, and that's their job, is to do it. That way, everybody would participate all the time, because you'd constantly be involved. Like I said, it's a radical solution, but we have enough technology and enough people involved with that technology that it could happen.
With enough, federalized income, that could be feasible if if our culture could sustain a schedule where you had that much ability to go between your civic duties and your personal pursuits or your professional duties or whatever.
Yeah, it would be expected that you would be, several times throughout the day, you'd be looking at what things need to be voted on in your area, and it'd be expected that you would vote on it. That would be part of the cultural
I mean,
climate.
you'd have to be able to have like free time to look at the board, check it, like see what's being voted on. If you cared, most people would definitely factor in whether they like gave a shit or not, and then like
it's a possibility. We would have access. I'm going to let us think on that for a second as I pivot towards the top of the hour break, just to remind you that this is the Cox and Space podcast. And we are here on Drawing with Jack as we're working on the third page, which is getting closer and closer to getting this inking done. Really excited about this. We are here tonight with Aaron Cosbio, myself, Skip Marazzi, Jack Haynes, and our guest, Mr. John, blanking on his last name, so he's not responsible for anything he's saying on this podcast. If you guys want to be a part of the crew of us misfits as we continue on this journey, you can by going to coxinspace.com. There you can get connected with our Facebook, get in touch with Aaron Cosville, and talk about the interesting things that you find interesting, and he will pass you on to us so that we can talk to you on the show and have you on the show. And it's always a fun time as we get to hang out and talk about the things that you're interested in. You can also at coxinspace.com join our Patreon. And from there, you get access to hidden and early episodes as like blocked content, either too spicy for YouTube or the Secret Sundays that we're going to be starting doing. This weekend, we have Ryan Williams, who is a very entertaining person, very, very funny man coming in. So we'll have that episode coming up. But if you wanted to catch it live, you can catch it on the Discord, which you can also find at coxinspace.com. Come in and get the Discord link. Come hang out with us on any of the nights that we're there and hang out with our guests. Like our guest who's here tonight, Mr. John, blanked out his last name, because I want to switch gears. We were talking policy and politics, which I think is fantastic. That actually started from a conversation of us talking about Wolfenstein, Colossus, and how we should keep the Nazi punching as part of a very real possibility in our lives. But what I want to talk about, hear more about, and to make sure we don't miss it for ourselves and our listeners, is your job and what you do. What would you like to share with us?
Well, I work at a casino.
Right on.
Which is it's an interesting place. One thing that I will say, I'm not going to share the particular place that I work at, although I suppose anybody who works hard enough probably could figure it out. But but they'll start by saying my views are my own, don't reflect that of my employer, yada, yada, yada.
Correct, as the views of people on the show.
Yeah, but they'll start with saying a thing that they actually probably would be happy to hear me say is that kind of an odd thing that happened with me working there was that I'm actually like kind of proud of my company a little bit for the things that they do. Like they're still they've still got a diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative going on. That's that doesn't just happen to be going on. They send out regular emails about it and stuff, teaching people about things. It's part of the training.
That's a gamble in this day and age.
It really is.
Bam. But also, because they're looking at, you're from a hospitality service. So hospitality means meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's a very important part. Another part is just, honestly, just it's, and I can't speak for the sports gambling part of the business because I'm not involved with any of that. I don't know anything about that, and I've got my own opinions on that industry.
Okay.
But as far as regular gambling, it's far more honest than I kind of would have expected going into it.
That
once I
is
learned
surprising
about
here for me also.
A thing that really kind of depressed me a little bit that I thought was really weird was when I was a kid I wanted to be a video game designer. I that was my dream. And now thinking on it, like all the unethical stuff in those games, loot boxes, microtransactions, the works, kind of skirting regulations by being like, hey, they're not betting with currency. They have to buy my fake currency. And they're betting that.
Yeah, see, you're hitting on exactly why I don't like video gaming.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. And then like I realized like I work for a casino and like it is like I am proud of my business's ethics versus had I had my dream job, like I would be conflicted every day. I would have a very hard time with that.
Which is you're saying that about a casino that you work at. All right, so not nearly as shady as everyone was suspecting it was.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't recommend anyone gamble ever.
Okay.
But the casino will take your money, but it'll be fair about it.
Well, you talk about like into these gaming systems that they kind of get you like dopamine hooked into it, and then also building a character or a house or a plot of land or whatever, and you're now hooked into it, and they're still taking it, and you don't realize that you're gambling.
Yeah, like I mean, and it's crazy the amount of manipulation you can do, and then like I'll contrast this with how it works in a casino. Not to glaze the casino industry anymore, but as a point of comparison, in a casino, some people think like the odds change or whatever. There's certain state regulations that'll say, oh, your slot machines have to pay out this percentage of stuff. So for every dollar that goes in and gets bet, it's got to pay out some sort of amount.
So it is rigged, but that's understood going into it, but it does have to pay out.
Yeah, it does have to pay out, but it's not set. Like some people think like, oh, well, if it hasn't been paying out for a while, oh, they got to change the odds and then it'll then suddenly if I bet at that time, I'm more likely to win stuff. But that's not the case. It's all built. It's all built into the machine. It's all just essentially there's certain number of symbols. I mean, everything's digital now, so they're all virtual symbols, but you just have enough of them in there that essentially just the mathematics works out that certain payouts have certain odds of happening, and they just compute what is on average going to happen. And there's enough spins that people are doing that just generally it all works out pretty close to that target.
Is it one individual machine that it's doing it on, or is it every machine on a casino floor just connected into those odds?
Every machine has to be set, and it has to be approved by a regulatory body.
Oh wow!
Like they
again, super surprised. That's cool.
Like those machines are like have you seen the seals on like a gas pump?
Yes.
I think a state regulatory body will they will like examine the random number generator, and they seal it up. And like if that's broken by the casino to tamper with any of that stuff, like they will examine it. They will run simulations.
I have seen those stickers. I didn't connect the two of those things, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, specifically to make sure that the casino itself is not cheating their customers. They make sure that everything is fair and as advertised. So, like, still don't play slots. You're not going to win money. But like, it's not actively cheating you. It is set up specifically this way, and the odds are what they say they're going to be. I contrast that with, like, I believe it Sony that had that patent specifically in matchmaking, where they would start matching more skilled players who have bought skins and cosmetics and various
No, that was Activision.
Things. That was Activision.
Sony was going to patent a patent that would, in the PlayStation ribbon, it would advertise to you, which I think it kind of does now. It would advertise to you I guess like tips or like walkthroughs, or I don't know, like something that you could buy that would help you, like helpers, like in game. and they were going to patent. They had like patent stuff for that.
Oh wow! So you're pairing up with a more skilled player. That was what they were selling.
No, like you could literally, like it would literally be like a thing in the game that would be, like it would take you to the PlayStation ribbon, and it would be like something that you could buy to like help you in the game. I can't remember exactly like what it like dealt with, but that was like the idea that it would just like be like this helper that you could like buy that was a part of. I don't know, PlayStation Network, or is a part of Sony's infrastructure somehow. Anyway, sorry.
So, John, do you think that video games, they don't have that regulatory body over them, and that's what makes them like vastly unfair? Is that the odds can be set to anything?
Yeah, they don't have to publish those odds. They don't have to be set in any particular thing. Well, I guess at this point it depends on the jurisdiction in some cases, because I know. Some countries, I believe, have started cracking down on that a little more.
Good. Okay. Cool. But also, we're talking about a worldwide network.
Probably not ours.
No, Europe for sure.
I remember Europe was at least having hearings on that stuff, but I don't remember how that turned out ultimately.
Well,
if any of y'all
I'm
remember.
pretty sure that they have to call things gambling. Like they decided that you have to call certain things gambling. There was like something that like EA lost in Europe that people were like watching after. I can't remember.
Where you just had to like notify the user that they were gambling.
It was something to do with the definition of what they were allowed to call gambling. But I mean, EA was embarrassing in that in those proceedings. Well, like their lawyers, like
if they lose that FIFA contract, they're going to be in like big, like they're going to lose their whole entire market.
Maybe. I mean, they have the NFL still, I believe. They don't have Star Wars.
Okay, I mean,
they lost Star Wars.
Yeah, NFL is like you can only sell that to America. Like you can sell football to basically everybody.
It's true.
Except America.
Yeah, except for Americans. I mean, but then also there's Americans who also enjoy the round ball. I just said football twice. I guess I was trying to say with an accent the second time, so you knew that.
Roundy ball.
So, John, what
I call it roundy toe ball.
The roundy toe balls. What specifically do you do in the casino? If you can tell us.
I work surveillance, which I can't say too much about.
Okay.
Just.
Can I? Tell me if I ask the question that you can't answer. But so is your job to watch the gamblers to see if they're cheating?
Basically, my job is kind of a catch-all. It's kind of just whoever calls us, any of the other people from anywhere else on property, if they need help with something, whether it's concern about somebody cheating, whether it's concern about, somebody lost a phone or whatever,
Okay.
It's kind of it's actually kind of good for me. ADHD, getting calls from kind of essentially every
you got yourself a job
and
that's
just help
interesting
them all out.
Because there's always something interesting.
Yeah, and essentially, I just have to learn how every other department works, and it's like a lot of the stuff's pretty cool.
Do you catch the people counting cards?
I guess.
Did you know there's 52?
That laugh means he's taking someone into a back room and beating them to death.
With a sock full of quarters.
For counting cards.
Yeah. Don't come back here again. Don't show your face. I can just see it. It'd be really scary because John seems like a really calm and nice guy. So, like, when you don't want the guy to be menacing, he's like, look, I'm sorry that I had to do that. But if you come back here again and count cards, I will do it again.
I will do it again.
I actually knew a guy who counted cards.
Really?
Yeah, it was before I started working for a casino, but I knew a guy who counted cards for a while, and then he basically told me, and it's a position that I think I've come to believe him seeing more, is that he counted cards for a while, and then he stopped doing it because it just felt like a part-time job. He was like, he could make the same money, not having to be so concentrated on doing things.
I met a guy who made that his living in Vegas. I traveled from Chicago to San Francisco with him. And that's what he said. He's like, I just stopped doing it because I could make money. But like, if I was already committed to doing a 9 to 5, like, why would I keep doing this?
Yeah. Like, you can make a ton of money if like you have somebody bankrolling you, if you have like an incredible amount of money. I mean, I can get into the weeds of how card counting works if you want.
I'm interested because you study statistics, right?
I did tutor statistics for a little bit. And,
okay. So how does it work then?
Basically, it's for any deck of cards, there's certain probabilities of certain patterns coming up and emerging. What cards are left in the deck is going to determine what odds there are for, you getting different sets of cards and therefore different counts to, whether you're going to end up beating the dealer or not. So there's always an optimal play for however many cards are left in the deck. But the problem is that, casinos might use 6 or even 8 full decks of cards. That's 52 cards times 8. That's an insane number of things to keep track of.
Yeah.
So essentially what card counting is a technique where it's like, okay, can't physically keep track of every single card that gets taken out. But what you can do is you can start counting along in certain directions or others what cards are coming out and assign some number value to what you're playing. For example, like the simplest one, a thing that a lot of people would know is the high-low method, where basically there's just, if you have a low card, say a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to say, okay, every time I see one of those pop out on the table, I'm going to count that as a +1. And every time I see a high-valued card, like a 10, Jack, King, Queen, Ace, those things will be -1.
Okay.
And I'll start subtracting numbers. And the reason being is just that the math has been worked out beforehand, like all the hard math you couldn't actually do at the table, to work out that you can kind of approximate saying, okay, I'm going to have better odds when the count is high versus when the count is low. I'm going to have better odds of winning against the casino. So I will bet more money at these times where the count is higher, and then if the count is low, goes below 0, I will bet, the table minimum, and I won't bet as much. Because kind of all casino games are built upon house edge, which is essentially just there's a certain percentage chance that the player will win or lose, and the payouts are always such that you get a little bit less than what would be appropriate for what you're betting. Like, for example, if you were you threw one die on table, it's got 6 sides. If you were to bet on one number coming up, then there's a 5 out of 6 chance you're going to lose, 1 out of 6 chance you're going to win. If it was a fair game, you would get paid 5-1 if your number came up.
Okay.
The way a casino works, essentially, the way that they make money is just, instead of getting paid 5-1, you get paid 4-1. And that's really, it. There's no,
okay.
Yeah, there's no, some people think like they're, rigging, the balls on the wheels on roulette and stuff and other things. No, it's literally just, we've worked out the odds of you winning versus losing, and we pay you just a little bit less.
I mean, that's all the edge you need if people are willing to throw money at a game.
And what card counting is essentially just, it has worked out that, oh, you actually are slightly more likely to win than you would be normally. So the payouts that you're getting actually are too high now for what those odds are of you winning. And the reason why this stuff turns into a job is because that edge you get isn't a lot. It's like 1% edge over the house. So that means you got to grind for a very long time. Like the way the casino makes money is just because they're constantly taking bets, constantly paying out wagers, and over time, the little losses that people have will add up to a ton, because the math works out that they essentially are going to get a little bit on everybody.
Right.
When you're one person versus the casino, you're just on average going to get a little bit, and it's going to take forever to make a ton of money. And there's also the risk of just like, oh, you might just get unlucky, because if it's only a 1% edge, there's still a pretty significant percentage chance that you could end up losing some money. You got to have enough money to play for a long time. That's why being a card counter is so grueling.
You got to have money to make money.
I mean, essentially, yeah, that's it. If you want to be one of like the big time card counters who's making a ton of money, you already have to have a ton of money beforehand in order to do it. And that's kind of what's unfair about it,
So you just shout out to the gamble culture. Just be like, hey, the numbers are not in your favor. It's stacked that way on purpose. You should know that if you don't have a lot of money, even though you're feeling nihilistic and wanting to throw away your check on a gamble, it doesn't pay out unless you already have money. So don't believe those guys on the TikTok or whatever. They'll be like, hey, yeah, I'm a finance bro. I gamble all the time. It's only because they have someone back them up. Yeah, they're more addicted to the gamble than they need the money.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's why they always say, like, if you win money at the casino, walk away, because really the only way you had, like, the only chance you ever have of making money at a casino is essentially the variance of where, the statistics are all worked out, like, oh, if you play tons of rounds, then, on average you'll, if the casino has like a 1% house edge, that means for every $100 you bet, you'll lose $1. So if you play for a very long time, and then you're going to get closer to that number of having lost $1 for every $100 you've bet. But if you win some, like,
that sounds like gambler's logic.
Yeah, you get that. If you make even a little bit of money, that was statistically unlikely to happen, and it's unlikely for you to make any more.
Right.
So that's why you always want to cash out if you win anything early.
Just get out there. You're gonna spend your whole weekend at the table. Just go see a show, do something, go get a nice dinner.
Yeah, because it's actually
there's a buffet.
Yeah.
Another thing that makes people lose a ton of money there is sort of, people might understand the concept of like, oh, house edge. That means, if I walk in with $100, they'll understand it to mean, oh, then I'm likely to lose like $1 if I play for a while on average. But that's not what that means. What that means is for every $100 you bet. And the thing is people bet a lot more than they think they do, because you're constantly losing money and winning it back. So you might have $100, and then you place a $10 bet. Well, you lose, you place another $10. You win, you place another $10. You win again. You're after a while you might be back at 100, but you've wagered a total of like maybe $1,000.
Oh wow!
And it's all those individual wagers added up.
I see why the gambling's addicting. I've never gotten into it to that level, and so I've never really understood it. But that's interesting. Okay, gotcha. So you started with $100, but you've been playing with 1,000.
Yeah, because the money's constantly being passed back and forth between you and the casino.
Gotcha.
And that amount that matters is how much money you're passing. That's like the number of times that happens, the more likely it is to work out to that statistical average, and that average is always set up to be in the casino's favor.
Right, of course. Because why else would they be there?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be a good business model.
And that's what I mean. Where like, I never recommend anyone go to a casino because it will take your money, but it does it fairly. Right. Those chances of you winning, those payout odds, those things are all available, and you can learn about it. it's just there's a lot of subtlety in a lot of the stuff, so a lot of people don't. It's tough to get a handle on, and honestly, I only really got a handle on it because I've spent a significant amount of time, thinking about it, learning about it.
Right, looking at it. You're immersed in it right now. Let me ask you this, because I was wondering. So on the Casino 4, all the games that you can play, not necessarily in your casino, but maybe specifically yours. Where are your best odds for a person to play?
Your best odds, technically speaking, it's going to be blackjack, simply because it's possible to get an edge over the casino doing card counting.
Okay.
The problem is that's
but only by that method.
I wouldn't do it, because if I'm at a casino, I don't feel like working.
Exactly. So like the entertainment value is gone when it's up and down.
Yeah. The other places you could go would be playing Baccarat, which I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that.
I've only heard the word, and I think it's only from spy movies.
The James Bond.
I feel like there's like a singer, like
right?
Baccarat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a silly game. It's
a silly game.
Tell me you have to wear hats and switch chairs or something. That's what I really want. Like, that's part of the gambling experience, but I don't think it is.
I mean, really, it's a game that really has almost no input from the players. Money goes into a shoe. No players make any decisions at all besides where to place their bets, and they just pull cards out and make two hands. And then whichever one ends up with a higher number, that's the winner. It's really an insanely simple game, and the reason it just gets so popular is just all of the superstitions around it. Anytime you go to a casino, you see a Baccarat table, they're going to have like this big sign up, this digital sign that like keeps track of the two hands are called banker player. So it'll be like, it'll have a whole history of, the banker won these times and the player won these times and these were a tie, and people will sit there. They even have handouts, like pieces of paper where people can write down the patterns, and I've seen people like try to figure it out, find a pattern in the cards and stuff. And that's
my God. Of course that has a big addiction. People like want to solve a big math problem that is way too big for their brain.
Yeah, and the thing is that like, if you don't feel like doing any work, you go to a Baccarat table, you could bet on either of the hands, and it's going to be barely less than 50% chance of you. But it's an almost 50% chance. So just go there, bet whichever one you want. Technically, the banker is slightly better, but like it's not that big a difference.
So you're saying that the odds are even greater than, say, a roulette wheel if you were going to go red and black.
Oh yeah, it's actually it's better than that. The odds, the house has got like a 5% house edge on a roulette table.
Damn.
Unless of course you're playing with 3 zeros, in which case it's even more. Which never played a 3-0 roulette table. Don't do it.
All right.
Because like the way that roulette makes its money specifically is, so if you've seen the table. You bet straight up on a single number, it'll pay you 35 to 1. Well, how many numbers are on the table? A surprising number of people will say 36.
Okay.
It's like, no, it's 38. Because there's a 0 and a double 0. And those two zeros are where all the house edge comes in. It's basically, if it were a fair game, they're paying you as though there are 36 numbers, even though there's 38.
Nice.
So like I've seen some casinos, they'll like advertise a third 0 as like, ooh, now there's another number to bet on, and it's just like, oh, that just means there's 39 numbers, and instead of paying me,
you're doing 36.
Yeah.
How many numbers does Russian roulette have?
I believe that.
I think the odds are 1 in
6. You should be
6.
getting paid 5 to 1. I think.
Yeah. The payout.
What's the house edge?
Deal.
The problem is you really don't want to go bust on that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way you really or win, depending on how late in the night you're playing and what season of the year it is. Yeah. and how much you've been doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I guess if the gun's been left out in the rain for a while, it changes the odds.
Okay, I guess there's also that. I was just thinking about the optimism versus pessimism of that moment.
That's fair.
The nihilism of that moment.
The nihilism of that moment. You're like, am I winning the game now or losing? Yeah, man. That is the question, whether it's noble or whatnot. That's awesome. Hey, so at the very beginning, you said this. You said that the gambling is fair where you're at, but sports gambling? Question mark. Like, what's the big difference there?
Well, okay. I want to be clear, especially clear just in case anybody from my business hears that.
Correct. Okay.
Is that when I say that versus, like, when I draw that distinction between this versus sports gambling, it's just that I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm saying that my experience isn't in that side of the industry.
Gotcha.
That's
okay.
like a whole thing. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, I mean, no, I wasn't saying that wasn't what I just said. It runs differently. And I think one of the things that when I started thinking about sports gambling is, of course, it runs differently because the odds are like fucking whack. You're betting on like human beings doing actions.
Yeah. It's yeah, the way those things are calculated and stuff. I've read a little bit, not enough to confidently say that I'm actually giving people
And you're not expressing the view of your company or as a professional. This is speculation on your part.
Yeah. It's yeah, so like my understanding is a lot of that stuff kind of gets assigned the same way things on like say Polymarket do, where it's in response to people, betting on one side versus the other. So the more people bet on a thing, the odds might change as time goes on. Is my understanding?
Oh,
but I could be wrong on that.
That
I would have to.
I mean, okay, so I wouldn't put it past some gambling places to do that, right? Like once it starts getting weighted, the odds are going to be going up. Probably started as an honest thing. I don't know if it's honest, but just to like make sure that they're not taking a huge loss from people recognizing there's a win.
Yeah, see now I want to like look this up real quick because like I don't want to be wrong.
You're welcome to. I was asking you to ask work outside your realm, which is it's fine that you don't know about it. You said you didn't know about it from the very beginning. I know less than you do, so that's why I was just asking for some kind of insight as to like how that was working. While you're looking that up, if you can, if not, I mean, I understand split focus might not be good, so that's also fine.
Yeah.
Then I will tell this story. My brother, he I would say he loves to gamble, but he does go to the casinos to, and so I was like, why do you do that? Right? Like, that they're just taking your money. He's like, yeah, but that any place you go for entertainment is going to be taking your money. So you pay $20 to see a movie, or you put $20 on a table, and then you hang around with the people, you get some free drinks, and then once the $20 is gone, you've had your entertainment. And I was like, all right, like I guess that's the thing. One thing from this conversation that I found enlightening was I didn't recognize how the $10 can or the $100 can turn into $1,000. And that's kind of like the excitement of the game. Is you can see the money scurry around the table, and sometimes it lands in your pocket, and you have to decide what to do with it, right?
I mean, it's I guess it's you're never gonna have like all. Sorry, I'm trying to think how to.
It's okay.
How to phrase it specifically because it's kind of a subtle point, and it's actually one that's like kind of hard to. Like when I was learning about it, it kind of took a second for it to click for me. Also,
Sure.
I guess when I'm saying like you're very unlikely to end up with like if you started with $100 to end up with $1,000 in your pocket.
Right.
I guess when I say like it turns into $1,000 of betting, I mean specifically that over time you have handed the casino $1,000, like in the sense of like if you placed $100 bet, you lost. Then you've handed them $100, and then but you bet another $100. You're now having bet 200.
Oh, okay.
Then you win some more. If you get that money handed back to you, we're still just counting the amount that you bet over time. So whether you win or lose, like the amount you've bet, like that number's still going up. So you might have.
So now you've had $200.
I really want a whiteboard.
What's that?
I'm like, I really want a whiteboard.
So you can demonstrate what it was. But you're saying interesting. The number always increases is what your thought is? Is that the more people, they want to win that money back, and so they put more money into it.
Yeah, it's about like what matters for the statistics is how many bets you're placing, not how much money you have. So it's like if you just... All right, supposing we set up a thing that would make you lose $1 and then win $1 without fail constantly. This would never work in the real world, but just for the sake of an example.
Okay.
Like, you would always have either $10 or $9, but you just keep doing it. You still have... You do it 100 times. You have bet $100, even though you've never had more or less than $9 or more than $10 at any time.
You're talking about that factorial thing, right? Maybe it's not what it is, but where it's like every time you go to the category, there's still 10 there because or 9 there because that's how many you had. Or you're talking about because you always spend $1, you've done that 1,000 times.
Yeah, that the thing that matters in terms of like the statistics and the chance you have of winning and the chance that the casino has of essentially making its money it's that act of betting. It doesn't matter how much you have in your pocket at a time. It's that act of placing a bet, and the more times you place a bet, then like that chance of the casino essentially winning that bit from you goes up. So in a sense, like people might walk into the casino and think to themselves, okay, I only have $100, so I'm only going to bet $100. But it's like, because you win some and get some of that back over time, you're going to like keep betting over and over again. And that $100 can last you a while. And the actual amount that you've bet, like placing bets, goes up. And like that's what I mean about it being kind of like a subtle point, is that like you might think, okay, I'm just placing more money. What does that matter? What matters is what's in my pocket. But to the casino, that's not what matters. What matters is just how often you're feeding that money back to them. That's why somebody like at a casino who might have won $500,000 from them, the casino might still give them comps and stuff, pay for their food, their hotels and stuff, because what makes that person valuable isn't how much money somebody's lost or how much they've won. It's how much they play. How many wagers are they placing down?
Because they get a cut off
the more you
week.
play. Yeah.
I got you. So they're like, I don't give a fuck. You got money?
Yeah, it's just that every time you place a wager, because of the way the math works, they are more likely to win money the more people play, period.
Wow.
I guess that does that make sense? I don't know if
that actually
makes sense.
It was like leading up to it, and then it finally did make sense. Also, Jack, I want to comment. I recognize that you've changed the angle of that table, and I love it. Like, that's so cool, man.
It needed to change. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't quite recognize, but yeah, it comes up to that point, and that's the focal point. So yeah, that's awesome. We're here drawing with Jack, talking with John about gambling. Now, I did want to ask this question because I know that you've seen it, because you've been working there for a few years.
Yeah.
Okay. You got regulars there. How do they look, man? Like, how bad is their addiction to the dopamine they're getting from the flashing light?
Honestly, it's they run the gamut. It's some folks it's pretty rough, and you can't do anything because it's their choice to be there. I mean, we make the materials available for if they want to try to sign themselves up for a program where they can't go to the casino or something like that. But
okay, oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that. That makes sense.
Yeah,
like if people aren't gambling responsibly.
Yeah, a lot of states will have that sort of thing where it's like, okay, somebody might have a problem, and if they decide they do, then they can sign up for this thing, and then whichever state's gaming commission will go through the process of being like, okay, you're not here because like your family is forcing you to. This is your decision. Gonna verify that sort of thing, and then casinos are obligated to not serve that former customer.
Really?
But like,
so yeah. as a surveillance, you have like a list of like photos of people you're like, oh yeah, that guy, he can't come in here anymore.
That part I can't really get into.
Sorry about that. Like you
don't have to apologize for anything. It's fine. I didn't give you a list of things.
No. That's yeah. I'm not attempting to pry at all. I realized as we're talking this conversation, I was like, yeah, it could get out and seem like we were trying to like case the joint. And I was like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that I probably shouldn't be asking about. But I was wondering where all the cameras were.
It's fine.
And what the combination
we were wondering how we could Ocean's 11 this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to do that, but like I'm just playing. Those are all jokes. Do not send the DEA over here. Yeah, it was this show is a parody. Except for Jack's work, which is amazing, and his opinions, which it's not a parody. He stands behind them.
Oh.
I'm a big dumbass with a mouth that moves faster than my brain sometimes. So.
I'm opinionated. I apologize.
No. I'm just saying that you actually do stand behind the opinions that you have, and I'm not trying to undercut them by saying that everything on the show is a parody just because I'm a dumbass and make jokes about how the fact that we're trying to Ocean's 11 our friends at the casino.
John is not laughing.
In other news connected to nothing, just to point out that I am a dumbass. So down in the South, we have sweet tea. I'm sure you guys are all aware of it. It's amazing. It's God's nectar.
Yeah.
It's tea that has a lot of sugar in it. It's fantastic.
Sounds awesome.
Now, what some people don't realize, or maybe they do realize, but if you take, I work in a place where I can get a bunch of sweet tea, and you take it home in a jug, a bottle, right? Accidentally leaving your car, don't clean the bottle out, just like pour out stuff, put new stuff in it. Sugar, once exposed to heat and the elements, begins to ferment. And so I was drinking some sweet tea today out of this bottle, and I was like, damn, this is like hard tea, but it just came out. So I was like, maybe something's wrong with that tea. So I took some other tea from another bottle, and same thing. Anyway, long story short, dumbass who was like starting to make my own like moonshine with sweet tea in a bottle that I left in my car. And it had stuck to the sides of the jug that I was drinking out of. So that's why I say, all things are parody. Don't come to me for expert advice, because I might know some things, but I'm also the kind of dumbass who would accidentally make alcohol with sweet tea. A hard sweet tea.
Yeah. I mean, to accidentally make alcohol is like one thing. To like drink accidentally made alcohol.
Here's the dumb thing, Jack, is that it happened 2 days in a row. That I was like, no, it must be the tea that's made that day, and I brought the bottle back home and did not clean it, and then went back and got some more and was still mystified as to why.
Yeah.
So where did the yeast come from?
There's a lot of powder that floats around. I'm sure at some point. Again, I'm not sure. Everything is fine. With my health,
drink some cranberry juice.
Yeah, I was eating the fermented garlic that I have. So it kind of all balanced out. But fellas, we're in the last 15 minutes of the show, and we're here with our good friend John. And man, this has been an awesome conversation. This last part has been so interesting because the inside of what casinos are like. I don't spend a lot of time there in general, but knowing about the inner workings of things is always fascinating to me. So thank you for sharing your expertise.
I mean, it's still probably. I guess I'm sorry I can't like say more. I mean, I
no.
guess
You've given me plenty of things that I didn't know that is, I'm sure, just common knowledge to you. But you have some other thoughts.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, like one way to kind of learn about it is, um, most state regulatory agencies are going to have like their regulations up on their website that you can learn about, which, partly for people who are just curious, but then also for anybody who might, if you're ever wondering if your casino's cheating you or whatever, how you can trust them and stuff. Those sorts of things will be online that'll kind of detail, most. My understanding is most state regulatory agencies are going to have things explaining exactly what they do to make sure everything's fair.
I don't know if you are around where there are native reservations. It's first of all, I'm going to say that it's a shame that those exist in America. That we've herded people onto lots of unusable land, forced them to stay there, and then exploited them at every turn. But that's just social commentary. And as I said, you can write it off as farce if you want. But the do you know if the regulations are the same there? Is it by the state or is it tribal? You could say you don't know if you don't know, but
I don't know. I mean, my understanding is I think that the relationship between the laws regarding the gambling and other laws. See, I'm not certain exactly how much like state law applies on a reservation versus or is it only federal law that can do that?
I gotcha.
I'm not well versed, but I know that my understanding is that it operates under that same umbrella of things.
Okay. And that would make the most sense. I grew up near the Navajo reservation, the large one, and so that was why it popped in my mind instantly. Most stuff they handle on their own, as their own governing body.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of them pop up on reservations, at least prior to a ton of states legalizing gambling and then kind of getting them everywhere. Was that essentially that was in places where they were otherwise prohibiting gambling, they were able to set up shop there because those same state laws didn't apply to them.
This is the comment that I was making at the top, and then exploiting them at every possible turn. Being like, well, since, we didn't let you technically live in our country, and we've left you in this shithole, we're going to build some casinos and you can make some money. How about that? See? Damn, dude. Cold as fuck. Colonization is not a good look for any nation. So it's getting late, which is why the morosity. But I do want to ask you this, because you said you've been there for a little while in those casinos. What's the wildest thing that you've seen? I don't know, bachelorette party, I don't know, streakers, or maybe there's a bunch of them, and the top 5. I mean, the ones that you can, of course, tell about.
The ones that you're allowed to say.
Yeah, deciding which ones it would be that's kind of a
is it
thing.
Okay, so it really could be the collection of ones that pop to mind. If you're like this one and then this one, oh my god, this one. That's also fair.
I guess I'll kind of describe standard things of a class of incidents.
Okay. Types of things that happen regularly? Hell yes. I didn't even know this happened. Let me know. Yeah. I want to know.
Okay, the number of people who just seem to actively try to get arrested.
In casinos? Seriously? They're already gambling and they're like, what about with my life?
Has somebody tried to do an Ocean's 11?
Not that I have seen. No.
What do you mean by actively trying to get arrested? Like they taunt the security guards, or they grab other people's chips?
Yeah, like. Well, okay, I've seen that too.
That's so stupid. Why would you?
Well, one of it is like, okay, so depending on where you are and whatever casinos you go to, different places are going to have different liquor laws. If you're in any place that's got like dram shop laws and those things where like they take, proprietor responsibility really seriously, then anytime somebody gets like really drunk, then it's their responsibility to make sure they get a safe ride home, get escorted out, and they can't just stay there. And the number of people who get really mad about getting asked to leave.
Oh. You're like, you're open 24 hours or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll wear my biases on my sleeve. I grew up not having the most positive opinion of police officers, and I still maintain an opinion where I think there's lots of reforms that need to happen nationwide and all that.
Agreed.
I guess it was, but both through friends I have who've had family in law enforcement and then working where I do now, I guess I've grown to appreciate more of the nuances, and it's kind of amazing the patience some of the police officers have in dealing with people who like, it's like, dude, we don't have a choice, man. We have to ask you.
Right.
Why do you gotta like, the number of people who get out the door with somebody sober to drive them, who are like walking away and then are like, they turn around like Jackie Chan's uncle and Jackie Chan Adventures, just like, and one more thing.
Oh no, dude.
And it's like, dude, come on, man. I didn't want to write a report.
Right.
I do consider myself really lucky though that, like, I guess maybe another part of what colors my experience is that I work for a place that's actually pretty good and pretty cool with the regulators. We work with them. We don't try to make their lives more difficult, so they're all very my experiences with them is they're all very nice people, but I also know that there's certain casinos that are like, yeah, we just pay the fines. And just make the auditors' lives hell.
Wow.
So that kind of
they're in the mindset that they're gamblers also, right? They're like, I've got money, let's see if they catch us.
Yeah, and it's
Jeez.
like I've heard stories from people who've met folks who've worked at other places, and it's a bummer. So I guess technically
it's a bummer.
So,
I'm here talking about the gambling industry as though like, at least it's all fair and above board. But I guess when I think about it, yeah, your mileage may vary depending on the establishment.
Right. Well, that's true with any establishment. Like, I mean, a restaurant, even under a brand, can vary by who's running it.
Yeah. God. And
I know, it's not fun to think about. I don't like eating out once I started working in kitchens. Like, oh God.
For some of the other stuff I've seen, I mean, I guess one thing I might say is, like, a lot of our cameras, they're not hidden. If you look at the ceiling, you can see them. A lot of people seem to think that there aren't cameras in the elevators.
Oh my God.
So you have your fair share of things I wish I didn't see in there.
Yeah. Because people want to imagine that moment is like hot and sexy because they've seen a movie where that happened. But by and large, people are not hot and sexy, especially people who are getting tanked at casinos. So
drunk blowjob in an elevator.
Yeah, that like it's never going to be super fun to see. or I'd say rarely, that you're going to get a nice pairing where you can be like, yes, that was a satisfying snoop on people doing a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, because here's the thing: is you're in a place where the general, your clients are people who like risky behavior and people who are enjoying getting intoxicated. So I'm like, I know that place is crazy.
Yeah, like I mean, it all honestly, it all depends on the day.
Yeah,
I mean
right.
that's a tough thing, at least in my industry, is that it just you can have days where not a whole lot's going on, and then you can have other days where it's just you're moving from one fire to another, and you don't even have enough time to type up the fire that just happened.
Right.
And it's
Let
all
me
just
ask you
kind of
this.
how lucky are you getting.
Uh, One of the things when I worked graveyard shifts is that we would talk about when the full moon was out, you have all the crazies. And I don't know if that was just, the wait staff speculation, but do you notice that when the casino starts to get crazy, you're like, is it a full moon?
Yeah, when it rains, it pours.
Like everyone wants to be crazy at the same time for some reason.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. But it is weird how it does seem to all occur at one. It just comes in these waves where it all gets compressed into particular points, and it's not the points where I would think they would be.
That's always the case. Yeah. It always comes
Like
out of
it's
unexpected place.
yeah, like I remember when I got hired, everybody was like, oh man, you got to watch out for New Year's Eve. It's so crazy busy and stuff. And at least for me, New Year's Eve actually pretty chill. You've got a ton of people who get drunk, but the thing is all of them were like, they were planning on it. They were like, oh yeah, I was planning on not being operational by midnight. I have an Uber lined up, or I have my friend here. Get
Oh,
on
nice.
property, no problem. It's like, if you have any like things like any concerts or stuff or things like that, some of them are fine, but some of them are like people can get people can get pretty crazy, especially when like they weren't planning on getting kicked out and they were like, oh, I was there for this thing and I don't get to experience it, and
You're like, I'm sorry.
and then it
Your
and
fault,
then it
man.
all just piles up, all these people
Oh my God.
getting really mad about stuff. Um,
Oh yeah, if they have friends or there's someone around them who wants to yell about it too. Jeez.
yeah. Although a lot of the stuff I don't understand why certain things happen if it is just. I mean, sometimes it does just feel like a full moon. Sometimes it's just like, oh, this guy had a heart attack. This guy's having like he's got diabetes and he didn't have any sugar today, and
Oh my God, I
oh
didn't
no,
even
this
think
thing
about
got
that.
spilled all over a table. Things that don't have any relation, and
Right.
then they all happen at the same time, and things can get a little nuts. But it's you work through it. I mean, I guess it's the same anywhere else where you're responding to customers coming in real time versus businesses that operate talking to other businesses and that sort of thing. Anything facing the public, and you've just got that unpredictability all the time.
Dude, public ser like that, waiting on people where their people are involved, customer service. It's such a crazy ride. It's enjoyable for those who enjoy that sort of thing, but it's a crazy ride. We are about to wrap the show, but I did want to ask you one last question. And
Sure.
what's because I think that this will make your boss happy if they do hear it. If they get to this point in the podcast and they're like, "Oh man, I can't believe it," and saying all this stuff. What's the biggest win that you've seen happen in your time there?
The biggest win. Oh man, that's
He's like the casino itself. They've been raking it in every day since I've been there.
He's like having an existential crisis because he's never seen someone win from the claw machine. Like he's seen every other win, but never the claw machine.
actually it is kind of weird how often people win.
Really?
Well, the thing is just so many people are playing that even if you have a low chance of winning, somebody's going to be winning at any given time. That's another way it all kind of works. No, I was just pausing because I was trying to think what the biggest thing I saw was, and I feel like I'm going to get it wrong, but I feel like it was at least 60,000
at one time. Wow, like a slot or like a table? A wheel?
That was like a slot machine.
Wow.
And at the tables, there's a depending on like what table you're at, like what the table max is. It's there's kind of a maximum amount you can win there, which I know we're running out of time. I took a little bit of time.
You're good.
Thinking about things, but that's actually kind of a whole interesting topic unto itself, is like table maximums. And like, because a thing is essentially, and it's a thing that's like really important in poker too, but whoever has more money kind of bullies whoever has less money. And the reason why casinos have table maximums is that, like, theoretically, if they didn't, say if you lost and you were like a billionaire or something, well, then you just bet double what you bet last time. And then if you lose again, you bet double that. And eventually, if you had unlimited money, you'd win and you'd get all of it back. And that's why casinos put that cap on there.
They can't have that. Because they need you to lose. So the money.
Lose. Yes.
So I was trying to end that on the upswing, but we ended it exactly where it should end. No, it's good because it's true. I mean, and you said, hey, there's regulations in place for gambling to make sure that happens. So that's awesome. Guys, thank you for being here. We don't have to. We're gonna probably hang out in the post also, so you're welcome to hang out. But we're gonna wrap up this podcast. Thank you for being here with us and sharing all the knowledge you have. I really appreciate that, John. We're here with Jack Haynes and Aaron Cosville. Jack, you want to shout out your Twitch?
Yeah, twitch.com or twitch.tv/Kopasu. I play Rocket League. Probably going to be playing some other games also soon. So
Sweet.
If you want to. Well, I was doing a Last of Us Part 2 playthrough, and I paused it pretty much where the Last of Us season 2 ended. I paused it in almost the exact same spot, unintentionally. It's so funny. But I want to finish doing that, so I'll probably be playing that. And I got PlayStation.
Damn.
I got PlayStation games.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
Dragon's Dogma.
Dude, and that's not. I wish you could say. Stellar Blade, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, Hitman World Assassin, Sifu, Control, Ghost of Tsushima. I've beaten those games though, but Ghost of Tsushima, that's a fucking great game. Everybody should play that. Anyway, twitch.tv/Kopasu, check me out.
Monday, Wednesday. Yeah.
Monday, Wednesdays, and all the weekends. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And the weekends are cool. So take a look at that. Aaron Coswell, professorofcomedy.com. You have some exciting shows happening in the end of September. Sorry, mid-September.
September 13th. Place called Frankie's on the east side of Toledo.
Nice.
September 10th, I'm at a cigar bar, which it's paid. And October 4th, I am headlining a show in Richmond, Indiana.
Yes, dude. A virtual high fives to you there, guys. Check out him for all his other show dates. ProfessorofComedy.com. Thank you for joining us with John, name redacted, and I'm Skip Marazzi, and this is Fantastic Space Podcast. You're talking with Jack. We'll catch you the next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.